Welcome back to June Homeownership Month. I'm Ashley Fenton.
And I'm still Karl Crawford.
Today we're talking about something every homeowner wonders. So, Karl, you have shown hundreds of properties over the years.
One or two.
What is the one feature that buyers walk into a home and they just say, this is the one?
If there was one feature, and I don't think that there is, but the first time somebody walks in the home, if they can get a bright and airy feel when they walk in the home, I think that they can see themselves more in that home than if they walk in and it's a little bit dark and dreary.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
the bright light and bright has got to be the one thing that every home has. It just makes it more appealing,
I
more
agree.
homey.
Well, we talked about lighting last week. So, that large picture windows or just the natural light that flows in, of course, changes that perception for buyers too. But
Uh-huh.
I think that in my experience, you're right. There's not any one feature except does that home feel inviting?
Exactly.
So going into that a little bit more, what are some features that kind of scream that feeling that you've encountered over the years showing buyers property?
Wow. So you really have to look at who your buyer is, I think. What generation are they coming from? Because the younger generation, for the vast majority of the younger generation, they want an open floor plan. They want light and bright. They want stone countertops. You know, if you're working with an older generation, they may want some of those same things, but they may want to be compartmentalized, to where there's separation to the rooms, or at least there can be separation to the rooms depending on how they set up their stuff, um, to make it for them, because no two buyers are going to be the same. So you really have to get to know your clients to make sure that you're looking at something that they want to look at, that they can see themselves in.
Yes. Do you think that when do you think that buyers start having opinions on their tours with property?
Before they ever start looking. Um, and
So true.
I just, I mean, and they should. These are such a large purchase for any buyers.
Yes.
They should have an opinion on it, and they should be very purposeful. When you don't want to waste their time, you don't want them wasting your time.
No.
So absolutely have your opinion and share your opinion with your realtor to make sure that they get you to the right home that works for you.
Absolutely. I think that I mean we kind of touched on it in a couple of our episodes from the past couple weeks, but when I mean, like, do you feel like that opinion from the curb appeal perspective is maybe that make or break moment as far as opinions and the buyer being able to receive, because we've had a couple of clients here recently where it was like, maybe they encountered really great curb appeal and walked toward the property and it didn't quite match the curb appeal, or the exact opposite. The curb appeal was great, neighborhood was great, and there was just things that started to hit their list. Do you think that it's too late to come back from a bad curb appeal situation?
No, because so you're going to sell the home 3 times, right? You're going to sell the home online when they look at it. You're going to sell the home when they drive up to it with the curb appeal, and you're going to sell the home when they walk in the door. If if you can get them to the home the first time, the curb appeal is what's going to bring them inside the home. All that stuff inside the home, for the vast majority of it, can be changed and fixed to their style or their desire, um, within reason, at a for a nominal fee, of course. But I mean, you it's harder to change the curb appeal than it is to change the interior of the home.
Sure.
So
Unless it's a bathroom.
unless it's a bathroom, yeah. Tag last episode.
Well, you can yeah, go back and see the previous episode. You'll understand if you've missed one. But it kind of goes to that psychology we touched on a little bit before, because you can have really great presentation, from a curb appeal, but something like a smell going through a property,
Mhm.
it could check all of the boxes,
And even some of them that you didn't want checked.
that you didn't want
That's
checked.
right. That's right.
So I think that would probably be one, maybe one feature to kind of think about. I know that this is kind of home ownership month, and we've been talking to the
Mhm.
buyers out there, but sellers that are getting, ready to prep their home or thinking about their home. I think the smell is one feature that probably is not discussed enough, at least. I mean, we discuss it amongst ourselves, but in really truly being honest with our sellers out there, something to consider is exactly that, right?
Well, so when somebody walks in the door, if they can't walk in the door, because they're super sensitive to whatever odors, whether it's food or it's pet smells or it's smoking or it's mildew, whatever that odor is, and the owners of the home are probably nose blind to it. They probably don't even smell it anymore.
It happens,
You
right?
know,
I mean, you're there,
yeah,
you're living in that. And what is it? I mean, like, I think it's only 5 days before our senses actually get used to
it's
something when it's encountered it
I don't know what the
consistently.
days are, but I've walked in some homes and I don't know how you can get used to it. But I mean, it happens. It happens. So, um, as realtors, we have to be honest with our sellers when we walk into the home, and there's a pet smell or there's a food smell or something like that, just so they understand from a buyer's perspective what that's going to be. And I've had conversations with sellers before, and they're open to it. They're receptive to it. They know they have four dogs and three cats living in one house. They understand that, so they kind of anticipate it.
Sure. Well, we won't go down that rabbit hole of smells, but since we are touching on things you may not think about because you've been living as the homeowner there,
Mhm.
what are some other features that you don't know or you kind of have forgotten about as the homeowner, but buyers notice almost immediately when you're doing a tour?
So going back to the pet aspect of it, if you have dogs that I notice it a lot when I'm out looking at homes, and I have two dogs at home, and I don't see it as much with them except when I do, right? They jump on the back door and they scratch the paint, or where their nose hits the edge of the door and it starts to get a little bit of
Yes.
rust spots on it or something. Scratches in the wall or in the flooring, or small little holes in the wall where the doorknob hits.
Yeah.
That it's been there for a month, and it's there, but you walk past it every day, so it's not as important to you anymore.
Yeah.
Super important to the buyer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm noticing that just when you're living somewhere there's normal wear and tear, right? We chalk it
mhm.
up to the normal. I mean, it's everyday living. We're humans. We're not Our homes are not meant to
They're not
look like,
show places all the
yes,
time.
they're not
Yeah.
as much as HGTV, which, don't get me wrong, I love a good HGTV episode, but that's not real life every
Mhm.
day. That's not everyday living.
You actually live in the home? Yeah.
You live
Right.
here. But that's also, has changed. HGTV has
Mhm.
changed a lot of ways a buyer's perception of what their value is, and the industry changes with design even, and the
Mhm.
expectations and new construction. I mean, it's definitely kind of set a precedent in buyers' mindset for that, that they do kind of expect those little things that can be
Well,
easily taken care of.
certainly. And we're not all interior designers either.
That is true. That is
So,
true. Do you know one?
I know one.
No one.
I forgot her name, but anyway, there is the way that you stage your home, the way that you present the stuff that you've collected over your lifetime, um, the way that you keep your house. It's all going to come into play when you have buyers walking around, and those buyers are going to be hypercritical of you and how you live in your home. And you need to expect that, and you need to be prepared for that, and you need to have a realtor that will help you through it,
Yeah.
because if you want to sell your home, you've got to show it in the best light. And if you don't show it in the best light, it's going to sit. This isn't the market to test.
So do you feel like buyers are walking through homes touring just features like we kind of talked about last week from a square footage perspective, or do you think where we're at in the market now does have a lot to do with um, like an emotional aspect of it.
They have to be able to walk into the home, see themselves in that home, see their family making memories in that home if they have a family. They have to see themselves in the space. And if they can't see themselves in the space, there's if there's no emotion attached to it, that's not going to be their home. They have to fall in love when they walk in the door, not just settle on what could be.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And I think that in our conversations, like it it kind of comes up where it was maybe one thing, they get excited about all of the other features, but when they go to sleep on it, or they're like, I got to really thinking about how my life was going to be lived
certainly.
in that, and that layout is not going to work for me.
Hmm.
I started thinking about Christmases. I started thinking about all of the gatherings we previously discussed, and it was like, nope, that.
Or the house has one thing that they're going to add to any other house, so they can overlook some of the nuances of the home because it already has a screened in patio
Yeah.
or a sunroom or a really nice mud room or some feature that they're like, no, I have to have this in my home, because my family are going to utilize that space more than anything else. Then they can overlook some of the other things. But
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, do you feel like buyers start with emotion first and justify it with logic later, or do they start with logic first and justify it with emotion later?
I mean, I think that you're going to have them go both ways.
That's what
So
you've experienced.
yes, recently,
It is a different market.
it
You
is,
are right about that.
it
That
is,
it's
um,
changed.
because more times than not, historically, I think that people, it's an emotional thing. Um, Now people have so many different options, with houses, with days on market going up and inventory going up and having so much to look at. um, I think that people are walking into it and going, okay, I could do X, Y, and Z at this property, or I could do A, B, and C at this property. Let me see if the next one will have whatever's in the middle, and that's the one that. And so some of depending on what generation you're working with,
Yeah.
some of them are looking at it very practically, and whether or not it's going to be their forever home or whether it's their place for now,
Yeah.
also plays a big part in that.
Yeah. I know I've recently encountered like storage. Storage is like it could have a closed off, what I would consider a closed floor plan.
Mhm.
But if there is storage down hallways and in every room, I mean that fits a lot. That
It
checks a lot
checks
of
a lot of
people.
boxes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and when you think about the lifestyle changes too, that where we're at in the shifting market and the properties that are going to sale, I mean, that's an older generation. I mean, that's
Hmm.
the generation that's like, hey, I'm probably going to be here for the foreseeable. This is my forever home.
Right, right,
And then, of course, the move up generation is in the same bucket for that. So they're like, hey, my family is growing. So bathroom,
right.
storage,
Hmm.
open, entertaining, kitchen, those are all like check, check, check. But I think where I would share that the market has changed is really just that buyers have breathing room again, and they're using it. They're
Hmm.
using it to make
They're
some
using it.
wiser decisions, both on an emotional level and on a logical level, so that they know that the investment that they're making will get them through the next 5 or 10 years in this changing market. So they're not panic buying, if you will.
Right, right. But flip that around, and I've said this in past episodes, but you look at things from a different eye. Um, and walking in, do you see yourself walking through homes with your clients, looking at the home more emotionally or more practically for your people, um, or does it happen the same for you? Do you does it
Well,
depend?
I probably will go down a rabbit hole with this one, but I think that it also depends on the agent's perspective who's touring the property with you, right? Like, I mean, some of us are very analytical agents
Hmm.
and kind of lead with that nature. right, walking with the seller disclosure and doing that. And then others like myself, I really am like, okay, I'm asking every question in every room. Can you see your family in this room? What what holidays do you see happening here? Who are you going to be entertaining? So I'm asking very emotionally driven
Mm-hmm.
questions. And then of course notating where their brain went so that I can share, okay, well, there's a possible defect here, or if that was your plan, you may not be able to do this because this is a load bearing wall and this is,
It's going to
dependent
take a
upon.
lot
Yeah,
more
I mean,
money to
like
do
we
that.
just discussed your budget earlier, and I'm glad we did before we toured the property, but this is the reason why, because I do kind of tend to ask the questions that are more like, I want to see if my questions are going to get your see yourself here, because if my questions, then I already have my answer. This isn't the one.
Right.
I can already tell by the way you're answering my questions that this one is not a match, because if you don't have kind of an emotional pull towards the house, then it is just checking a box, and there is too much inventory out there for
Mhm.
you now to not be able to answer those questions with.
I think that we should start touring houses together, because I am that very practical person that will walk in and go, "Did you see that crack up there? Did you see this? Did you see this? What do you think
Yes.
about this?" And you're walking in going, "And can you see your family in this space?" And
Yeah.
with
But
that crack in the wall,
but
and
it's
then
not like it does say, I will say, coming back to what you said earlier, it's also about knowing your buyers.
Mhm.
I mean, truly having that relationship started before you start touring properties, I think is also really important, because I think people make the mistake about it is just about the house,
Mhm.
and your agent can really help you filter through a lot of the noise of how much is out there by having conversations beforehand on what is important to you.
Right.
And so if you already understand that your buyer, which I've had very analytical, systems driven, I want to know the mechanics behind the
Everything. Yeah,
sheetrock.
yeah, yeah.
I've had those clients, and I respond accordingly, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to go in there and how do you, is this bringing you home? And
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
does this have cat 8 wiring?
Yeah, exactly.
You
How
remember?
many cats are in this wall? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Eddie, if you're watching, great client. I love you. But yes, I mean, so I think that is about knowing and understanding, your clients, which is why we always advocate for our buyers to reach out early and start a relationship with an agent on the earlier side of things, because those things are important. They can help you narrow down a lot of inventory.
A lot. Yeah.
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 And I mean, the more that the clients share with us, the more when they send us a home, and we can go, okay, we looked at house A, B, and C. They were all a no because of this feature. This house has that
Has that
feature,
feature. Yeah.
and that way we can save the time and not have to look at so many homes. That way it doesn't cloud their judgment later. So
Yes. Or even discover, maybe, what about this one made you see it differently, because the other three we just looked at that you
hmm
were no, hard nose. Not only does this property has it,
hmm
but I am curious what did draw you back to this one, so that you can at least answer another question that you may not have had
certainly.
from the other three. So is there any tip that you could give sellers prepping their home? One tip, I'll give one as well, to create an emotional connection with buyers.
Depersonalize the space.
Oh, you took
Oh, I'm sorry,
mine.
not that. I mean, so it is. It really is.
Yes,
It's
depersonalize.
depersonalize the space. If they see too much of you in the space,
They
they
won't be
can't
able.
see them in the
Yep, they won't be
space.
able to then.
And you don't want people standing in your house looking at your walls of all the pictures of you and your family, because then they go, "Oh, look, what a great looking family." And, "Oh, look, they're having so much good fun here." And, "Oh, we got to go get to the next house. Okay, bye." And they never get to look at the house.
Yep,
And so don't let them waste time looking at stuff.
yep.
And
And that is a hard one, though.
it
I mean,
is.
it's hard
It's
for.
hard for you to depersonalize
Yep,
your home. That's your safe place. That's
yep.
what you want. And
Well, especially now with, I mean, many of our properties are owner occupied. Surprise! Did you know that they're not all vacant? Most of them are owner occupied. So I mean, it's hard to do that much depersonalization when you're
When you live in
accruing
that
days
space.
on market. You're living in the space. You
Mhm.
don't want it to feel, cold by any means.
Right. Your kids can't play in your home anymore because you have to keep it clean and be
Yes.
personalized. Right.
Yeah. So I always like the strategy when I am recommending that. The flip side of that is to if you think about the depersonalizing on the front end, right? Your most treasured favorite memories, the ones
Hmm.
that create a home, and you're packing those without the stress of the sale at the end.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So they're all nicely put away. They're marked like special moments. I always
Hmm.
encourage to say something like first box to open in our new place.
Hmm.
So it creates some excitement. It does help alleviate the sellers, like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Like and I don't have to worry about my most treasured moments being broken because they were just thrown into a box by a moving company. So I'm like, yeah, get 5 boxes, depersonalize, label, pack them all nice because you're not stressed right now. You will be when you go under
That's right.
contract.
It doesn't have to be every single thing in your home to where it doesn't look like anybody lives there and it's
Exactly.
staged for a magazine.
For correct.
But
Photos are the biggest one,
mhm,
only because photos buyers do. They're like, "Oh, the family had such happy moments. I don't want to do that to them. I mean,
right.
I know it's for sale, but they can't possibly want to leave
Yeah.
this beautiful wall." But yes, the pictures for sure. And then just leaving some negative space though. When I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of people think they have to bring in a bunch of things from a staging perspective. Less is
No,
more.
less is more.
Less is more on the furniture route, less is
Mhm.
more on the decor route. And again, just enough to give some intrigue, but not enough to be like, this is a style here. And I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I am vibing with the style.
Especially, I mean, if you have smaller rooms too, you don't want to have massive furniture, large pieces in a small
Yep.
space because then the space shrinks.
Yep.
And so if you can take out some of those bigger pieces, even if it's just one or two of
Yep.
them, to make open that space up to make it look bigger, bigger is better.
Yep. Space. The illusion of space is always better than walking in and realizing I feel like I won't have any space.
Hmm.
Remove a couple of chairs, and all of a sudden that feeling fleets, and
Right.
you're back into this has a lot of space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I think primary suites, I see the worst of that because you have, heavy,
Hmm.
heavy dressers, heavy beds. And that can feel a little claustrophobic to the space that we just talked about right now. Primary suites and the bathrooms,
Pri-
it's like,
it
no,
it's a big
it
deal.
just doesn't feel
Walk-in
tranquil.
closets. Does the closet have enough space for me and my spouse to hang up our clothes in there? And if it doesn't, who's going to put their clothes in the spare bedroom? And neither spouse wants to do that. And I
No.
mean, it's a bad
I've maybe
thing.
encountered one
I
in a
have
joke
not.
that was like, I guess I could put mine in the
Oh
spare
no.
bedroom
Mm-mm.
closet if
I made that joke in an open house the other day. I was like, well, where are you going to put your stuff? And they were like, it's a no. Great. So,
that
what
depends.
exactly are you looking for besides a enormous primary suite?
Yeah.
So, yep,
Storage space. Closets are
yeah,
storage space.
that's
So
right.
it's
That's right.
it's it's one of those out of sight things. Okay, so anything else to add? Final thoughts? Say Carl.
Say, Carl. No,
Say you, Carl.
say any final thoughts? Do I say?
Hmm.
Um, no. I mean, obviously, when you're selling your home, buyers are going to understand that you live in that space. So you've got to have a certain amount of your personal things that are in that space, to be able to function in life. But the more that you can get rid of or pare down or pack away those cherished items and some of those photos and stuff, the more they'll be able to see themselves in that space, and it'll work out better. It'll certainly work out better.
Agreed.
What you got?
You've almost been stealing my thunder today, but no, I love that we're on the same page. I was going to say that I think that when it comes to features, and we elaborated on that through this whole episode, but it's not necessarily about like the kitchen or the primary suite. and like, oh, I just love the wall paint or anything like that. It is
Mhm.
because it really will come down to when you're touring with a buyer, them walking in and their life literally flashing before their lives.
Mhm.
Um, because if they picture themselves in that and they do that for every room, that's how that house becomes the one. So the more you can get that feeling across to your potential buyers, is why we suggest things like decluttering and depersonalizing and destaging and defragranting. Please clean, but don't go crazy on the scents. I've
Yeah,
seen it both. You know, we talked
don't
about,
plug in every wall
yeah, we
has a
talked
different
about
plug-in.
the pets and some of the more, you know, like negative
Mhm.
smells, if you will. But the same goes to same for
For the
heavily
other side,
fragrance.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you feel like if a buyer feels like you're trying to mask something,
Mhm. It's an immediate turnoff.
it is.
Mhm.
I would almost venture to say it's a harder no than a detection of like, okay, they clean, but they have pets. Like,
Mhm.
you know, we have pets, we have kids. They, but
if you have if you have under the sink, if it has a mildew smell, or in a closet if it has a slight odor or something, it's you can go get a charcoal bag and hang it up in that closet and it'll absorb that odor, and you don't have to have the plug-ins.
yeah,
You don't have to worry about somebody smelling a mildew smell under the sink. You don't,
exactly.
I mean, there's things that
There's
you
red
can
right.
do. There's what?
The red right, you
The
know.
red right. Yes, yeah, the damp,
The
yeah.
damp, yep,
Hmm.
yep.
I mean, there's things that you can do that to where it doesn't appear that you're trying to mask something,
Yes.
um, but where you're truly getting rid of the odor at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, tell us about your odor
yeah, I
experiences
was
in
gonna
the
say,
comments.
we're gonna end on
This
the
is now an
odor.
odor episode.
Yes.
No, this to recap. This was about buyers feeling like it was the one. No, but yes, I mean that is a feature that I
Hmm.
think all of the senses come to play when you're shopping for a home. So that's been this week's episode of our June Home Ownership Month. We would love to continue these. We are going to continue these
Absolutely will.
every month. So please, if you guys have not started following us, not only do we appreciate the follow, but we appreciate the feedback. We want to know how to best serve you guys in our community as far as sharing all of the things when it comes to buying, selling, prepping, staging.
Anything you want to know, drop it in the chat and let's talk about it. And if there's something that we can go out and even if we can go out into the field and get some answers for you, let us know what it is that you want to know and we'll talk about that.
See you next week.
Have a good one.